Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and Voyage to the Sunken City has been out for a couple of days. The meta has somewhat kind of settled, not really, it's pretty crazy right now, but I thought it'd be a good time to go over 5 decks for both Standard and Wild that you can pick up and realistically expect to have some success with, whether it be hit Legend, get to Diamond, or Platinum for the first time. If you have some of these cards, you might want to give it a go. I still don't really recommend crafting any cards at the moment. It's still very early, but we're kind of getting an idea of what's doing well and people hitting higher ranks, and you never know what balance changes can happen. Before we get into the decks, just a quick shout out to my my gold pack opening video yesterday. In case you missed it, we have a giveaway going on. We're going to give away a golden bundle. All you have to do is comment and like that video, subscribe to the channel. You'll be entered for a chance to win that. It's an expensive one, so get in there. So the first deck in Standard, it's dominant. I have to recommend it. It's ridiculous. It is Questline Pirate Warrior. If you look at HS replay stats, Warrior is just dominating. And yes, we will be talking about the problems with Standard and Wild probably tomorrow. I'm going to go over what I feel like needs to be addressed already. Like, I feel like we're already at that point where there's some stuff that's too good, but I want to go over deck recommendations and fun stuff first before we get into the Zeddy complaining that he wants everything to be a chill win Yeti. Anyways, Pirate Warrior. So you got Raid the Docks. Raid the Docks, very good quest reward. You know, you get the Juggernaut and all that broken stuff, and there are so many new pirates in this deck that are just insane. By the way, if there's one card safe to craft, it's Amalgam of the Deep. 2-mana, 2/3. That's a pirate. It's everything. It discovers another thing. It's like a Gorilla Bot for 2 mana after they just buffed Gorilla Bot to 3, and then they print Amalgam the Deep. This card is ridiculous. But you have all other new cards in here like Obsidian Smith, you have Tuskar Trawler, Pufferfist is disgusting, it controls the board, it's got Spider Tank stats. Why is every aggro minion so well statted? And of course you have the finisher as well as in Mr. Smite, and the value bomb of Nelly the Great Thresher. And this is the build I saw. There's probably other ones, but yes, Pirate Warrior, Questline Warrior, dominating at all ranks, even top 1000 Legend. It is dominating, and I have to recommend it. It's just really good. Mech Mage is the other aggro deck you hear a lot about with, you know, just a good mech package with Click Locker. Again, we have Amalgam of the Deep being just super good. Security Automaton can just snowball the game. It starts as a 1/3 and gets out of control quickly, but of course, the big card that just dominates with this deck is Seafloor Gateway, which just gives you absurd mana cheat, a ridiculous value. You know, it draws itself, and then you can drop cheat mecha shards, do insane damage, and at the very worst, you got the Mothership and Gaia the Tectonic as late game bombs. Heck, the deck even has insane value with a Jarn Sweeper, which can create other mechs, as well as, you know, even your Amalgam of the Deep can get more Jarn Sweepers. It's a ridiculously good aggro deck that just never really runs out of steam. I've got a highlight here. Fell Demon Hunter is performing very well at top ranks. Draco Cat showed this list off of Jace Darkweaver. It's not a quest deck. It's built around just getting your Jace, getting insane value, but you can cheat out with your Wayward Sage. You can manipulate your Brand to be cheaper and your Jace to be cheaper and go Brand Jace. And you can do like over 30 damage with this combo. It's happened to me, and it is a really, really solid deck. It can compete with aggro, fighting for the board, and it just has that insane finisher. And you also have new additions like Glaive Shark, just helping you fighting for the board. Predation, which is 0 mana, deal 3 damage. Lady Athena, which helps you control the board, can push more damage. It's just a solid deck. It's doing really well, and I'm glad to see Demon Hunter having some success, because I was really worried it would be doing absolutely nothing like Priest is doing in Standard. Look at these Priest numbers. It's absolutely terrible. Next, we have the other big winner, it seems like, of this expansion is Ramp Druid. Yes, Druid is still insane. No Lightning Bloom, no Overgrowth. Doesn't seem to be a problem, because he still have Guff, which I guess was broken the whole time, and maybe needs to get adjusted. I love Guff, but my god, this deck, I played it today. You'll see a video on it later. It's gross. I only lost like 1 game, I think, and it was to like another Druid and 1 to aggro. But Aquatic Form is a ridiculous card that can dredge out whatever you need. And once you get to a certain mana cost, you have Oracle of Elune in here, which can copy up Ibis. And if you have a big Ibis, you can Earthen Scales it. You can Earthen Scales your giant off of a Miracle Growth, or copy Naga Giants with your again Oracle of Elune and armor that up. And of course, you just rip through your whole deck, drop Kazakusan, and you have an endgame win condition. This deck basically does it all. We even have Queen Ajara in here for extra value. The deck's really good. It's really fun. And yeah, I have to recommend it. And I've been doing really well. And Gabby got rank 1 legend with it. Meaty's top 10 legend with it. And I've already gone from 600 legend to about 400 to 300 legend in just like an hour or so. It's a really, really good deck. The last standard deck I'll recommend is a Burn. Shaman is doing very well. I saw this list from the Chinese server, got rank 2 legend that has the new stuff like Scalding Geyser, just a ridiculously good card. Cheap burn, all of that. Of course, you have your endgame win condition of Bioluminescence, which you can copy up a bunch of bodies of whatever you want. It could be just trogs, but you can just utilize your hero power with Brukan. Summon 2/3s, give those luminescence. And of course, you got Snowfall Guardian. You've got School Teacher in here, which you can also Bioluminescence, which can discover Bioluminescence. You can do some brand shenanigans, and the deck is just doing incredibly well. A lot of different builds, but I thought I'd highlight this one because it looked pretty cool. Next, we have the 5 best wild decks, and I'm just going to straight out say I don't recommend playing wild right now. Wild is a dumpster fire. It's awful because of the 2 decks we're going to talk about first that I say nerf again, but I got to recommend them. Again, I don't know if I can recommend crafting a lot of this stuff because I think they'll get hit. I hope they'll get hit. If they care about wild, they better hit it. But yes, we got the Kael'thas Druid. It can kill on turn 1. This can actually OTK on turn 1 with the newly, added aquatic form, but the main thing is just Kael'thas is unnerfed, and all your 0 mana spells and all sorts of stuff just makes everything 0. And Miracle Growth in there also lets you build a giant board and draw a bunch of cards if you didn't happen to kill your opponent. There's other builds out there like Togwoggle, Alignment, Token with like not Power of Creation, but Survival of the Fittest. There are a bunch of broken Kael'thas builds, but this is the most basic one. You cheat him out with Barnes or just play himself. It's busted, but again, I really hope they revert this because it is just such a problematic thing. You should not be worried about dying on turns 2 and 3. And speaking of that, we have the Switcheroo Priest, OTK with Stone Tusk Boar, which again is consistent enough that people are performing very well with it. And what you want to do is play Switcheroo. You get a 20/20 Boar because it switches with the darkness, and you copy it with a Vivid Nightmare for 40 damage. And well, worst comes to worst, you drew one of them, you can Potion of Madness a minion and buff it up and kill your opponent, stuff like that. But overall, it's good enough that the scam is worth it. And again, you win games on turns 3 and 4 with this. It's disgusting. And again, I really hope Blizzard takes a look at it, but I'm going to share it with you if you want to abuse it while you can. And again, I don't know if I recommend crafting this because the darkness is not exactly a meta card outside of this deck. Now we go to more reliable decks in Mech Mage as well for Wild. Mech Mage is incredible in Wild because you have cards like Book of Specters, which draw 3 cards, which are going to be minions unless you happen to hit your Seafloor Gateway. And then of course you have Mech Warper, which is just a disgusting mana cheat engine in conjunction with your Seafloor Gateway that just enables a lot of broken stuff. And you got Magnetics as well in War Gear, in Snip Snap. It's a very solid deck. It'll smork, it'll vomit the board, and it'll do really, really well for you. Aggro Pirate Rogue, which by the way is pretty good in Standard, but also pretty exceptional in Wild because you don't even need Kingsbane anymore. You just play Swordfish. By the way, this should be a 2 durability weapon. I don't care what anyone says. This should not have 3 durability. I've been basically saying that since it got revealed. But yes, you raiding party into Swordfish, you cheat out your Dread Corsair, you're cutting classes, and you murder your opponent. I play this for achievement hunting purposes, and my opponent kept conceding before I could get the Fillet Fighter achievement done of killing my opponent with Fillet Fighter. It was just so ridiculous the damage you get with this. And Wild abuses Ship's Cannon, Parachute Brigand. Really good aggressive deck. You got Secret Passage in there. You can't go wrong if you want to smork it up with this deck. And lastly, I'll leave off with something fun. All right, we'll leave off with something fun for you guys. Murloc Warlock in Wild. Pretty cool deck. It's doing pretty well. You have Raised Dead. You have a lot more cheap Murlocs you can utilize like Mermy, which are really good with your Chum Bucket. You got Crab Rider, which got unnerfed and all that. You have Sea Devil Stinger, which can reliably cheat out Gigafin. You're facing a board-centric deck. It can just automatically win the game. And you've got the new Gorlock Ravager, which just draws an absurd amount of Murlocs, and Old Murkai, which can just go face, especially with that Chum Bucket buff or a Murloc War Leader. Really effective aggro deck, and will probably get a lot better if some of of the other stuff gets dialed back. So there you go. Those are 5 decks from Standard and Wild. You can give a try. Again, be wary about crafting this stuff super early, but if you want to, go for it. And the deck codes are all in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.